Hi, my name's Chris, and today we're going to take on a yoga practice that might look a little different than what you normally expect. When you think of that Chinese symbol that has the two halves curled around each other, there's the yin and there's the yang. And the normal yoga practice that we take on is yang, and that is muscle and action and movement. But there's the complementary half to that, which is yin, which is what we'll take on today, which is more about stillness and breath. So, to get ready for today's practice, what I'm going to ask you to do as soon as I'm done here explaining, if you'll pause the video and go gather some things. And this is easy, no pressure. If you happen to have yoga blocks, that would be a great thing for you to gather, but no big deal if you don't. If not, grab some pillows off your couch, off your bed, wherever you can find them. If you don't have pillows, some blankets that you can roll up and make into pillows, anything that you can use that will help support our body parts as we enter these poses. So go ahead and pause me now, go find what you need, and I'll be here waiting for you when you get back. Okay, I'm hoping you've gathered some things to support your body and we're ready to get started. To initially get started, we'll just find a few moments of quiet meditation to find our breath, to quiet our mind, and begin to just be ready to take on this practice. So find a comfortable seated position, or if you'd prefer to come down onto your back with either your legs extended or when we have our knees bent, this here is called constructive rest pose. So take on whichever one of those serves you best. Get comfortable and find your breath. Just filling up and emptying. So as opposed to our normal yoga practice where we take on that ujjayi breath where we fill all the way up and audibly exhale, in this case we're just going to find a nice, normal, easy, deep breath. And perhaps with every exhale you can sink a little bit further into the earth. A little more tension can reach and fall off of you. And then just allow your breath to continue. I have something to read to you about the practice of yin yoga. The essence of yin is yielding. Yang is about changing the world. Yin accepts the world as it is. Neither is better than the other. There are indeed times where it's appropriate and even necessary to change the world. Other times it's best to just allow things to unfold. Part of the yin practice is learning this yielding. This philosophy is reflected well in a saying which has uncertain roots but has been circulating the world for perhaps 100 years or more and speaks to this very challenge of balancing yin and yang. Grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Grant me the courage to change the things that I can. And grant me the wisdom to know the difference. Harmony and balance in life comes from this wisdom, which must be earned and learned through our own experience. Our first opportunities to gain this wisdom can be found in this yin practice where we listen to our body. Take a few more deep breaths here. If your eyes were shut down, let them slowly blink open. If there's any movement that your body's calling for, maybe you're rolling your shoulders or moving your neck, whatever your body's asking for, go ahead and take it. There are 3 principles we need to consider for our yin practice before we get started. One is that we're going to enter poses and go to what we call our edge. Our edge is the place where we begin to feel challenge, where we begin to feel stretching or things that feel good like effort, but not to the point of pain or discomfort or going fully into the pose. And the reason for that leads us to our second thing we need to know about yin is that we hold these poses for a considerable amount of time, anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. So as you can imagine, if you extended yourself fully into a stretch and then were expected to hold it for 3 to 5 minutes, that could be pretty challenging. So instead, we're again just going to find that edge, and then we're going to allow softness and gravity to do the rest of the work for us. And then the last piece of all that is once we've found our edge, once we've reached where we need to be, we find stillness. And there we can breathe and allow our body to soften and loosen, get into those connective tissues, and allow a new kind of movement to enter into our body. So today we're going to start in a pretty simple pose. We're going to come to butterfly. Butterfly is a good place to start because it gives us lots of opportunities to find that edge. The first consideration we make is how close do we bring our heels to our body. So if our hips are one of our tighter areas, which for many of us they are, then we would want to move our heels pretty far away to give us space to allow our knees to fall open. If you're fairly open through your hips, you might find space bringing things closer. Now this is where we start to bring in those props and pillows. So one option would be to grab some pillows or something and place them under your knees to support you. Okay? Then the next piece is finding length initially through our spine just by breathing in. We'll soften in a moment, but to begin with, we'll just hinge. And this is where the second place where you really have an opportunity to listen to your body. You're going to stop when you feel that challenge, when you feel growth, when you feel like you're doing something good for your body. When we get to the point of really pushing or pain, that's where we need to back out. So I'm going to add some blocks to this pose as well. I'm going to use my feet or the ground in front of me, and you can kind of put them together however best works so I can find a space for my head to rest. So go ahead and take your time finding your way into butterfly where you're supported and growing, and allow your breath to begin to return. And we're going to hold this for about 3 minutes. So just focusing on your breath, letting the world fall away, soften. I'll pop in from time to time and remind you to breathe. And about halfway through, I'll invite you to deepen the pose or perhaps to lessen and back out of the pose. Check in with your breath. Return your focus there if it's drifted. No judgment. Just calling your attention back onto your mat and into your body. And take a second and check in with your body. See how it feels. Sometimes by sitting here and yielding, more space opens up to us, and if you'd like to deepen into the pose, feel free to do so. And sometimes we may have just misjudged a little bit and gone too deeply, and it's important for us to back out a little bit. Find that adjustment and return to stillness. We'll find 3 quality breaths to complete this pose. And then on your next inhale, gently, carefully, slowly begin to come back up to seated. Move anything you need to out of your way so you can carefully and gently extend your legs out in front of you. You can give them a little shake. You can wave your toes from side to side. Sometimes it feels good to place your hands by your hips. Bend your knees, plant your feet. Lift your hips up. Reverse tabletop. And release. From here, we'll move into a pose called straddle. So again, we've got all our props around us. So we begin by moving our legs out to the side. So we start by deciding how deep to make the straddle. That's our first decision. It may feel good to support your knees, underneath your knees. And we take anything that's left over available to us and we hinge forward. So we're sending your hip bones or sitting bones out behind you. And then we're just finding a place where we can again soften and grow. So take your second, get adjusted, and then we'll begin to come into our breath. And once you found the sweet spot for you, the edge where you need to be, we'll breathe. And we'll find stillness. Checking in with your breath, allowing every exhale to let you to release something, to soften somewhere. Check in with your body, see if you're where you need to be, or perhaps there's an adjustment to deepen or to relax out, or stay exactly as you are. Continue to focus on your breath. Continue to release any muscles that are holding or creating tension. And again, we'll find 3 deep quality breaths to complete this posture. Last breath, fill all the way up. Empty all the way out. And then allow your next inhale to slowly, carefully, gently bring you back up to seated. Using your arms to assist you bring your feet back into center, moving anything out of your way that might be in the way, and give it a good shake. Wave your toes back and forth. Maybe take that reverse tabletop if that feels good to you. We'll take one more seated position before we move on to the earth, but we do it on both sides. We're going to start with shoelace. So in shoelace, you take your right knee and you cross it over your left. Okay? Now, here's where the options begin. You can start to bring that heel close into you. You can bring that heel far away from you. Okay? Now, we were gonna just do half shoelace, but some of you may want to do full shoelace. And in full shoelace, you would add your left leg to the mix and bend that as well. Now, some of you may say, wait, this is cow face pose. This is cow face pose in yang, but in yin, the same postures have different names. So you decide which shoelace is appropriate for you. And then again, it's going to be a hinging pose. So check in with your body. Where do you need support? For some of us, that knee is not going to stack there. So maybe putting a pillow here is a good assistance for you. Play with your body. Take the time to get set up. See if you can find something that your forehead can find connection with, and ease forward. And then once you've found your space, just breathe. This one might take a little longer to set up, right? Keeping your focus on your breath and yielding and softening. Now would be a good time to check in, see if you need to deepen the pose or if you need to release out a little bit, adjust anything that needs to be adjusted. And then when you feel good, soften again and find stillness again. We have just a short while longer in this pose. For the time that's remaining, see if there's any place else where there's tension. You can let it melt away. Breathe all the way in. Breathe all the way out. Fill all the way up. And empty. Allow your next inhale to allow you to slowly, carefully, easily begin to lift your chest up. Move any props that are in the way. Extend your legs out in front of you. We're going to keep our knees bent this time and take windshield wipers. Knees go back and forth. And then it's time to take the other side. So this time our left knee stacks on top of a right. So as you get adjusted and settle in, begin to focus, like, does this side feel different? We get unbalanced in our bodies. We use our bodies in different ways. And so no judgment, just noticing how that feels. And again, option for heel to be far away from you, option for heel to be close to you, option for a block or a pillow to support under your knee. Or if hips are not an area of particular tightness for you, you may go into full shoelace. Find that. Now this side's tighter for me for sure. So go ahead and find that pose, feel comfortable, begin to find your breath and soften into it. And I'll set my little handy dandy timer so that we can spend our 3 minutes here. What did we do before we had these Apple Watches and phones and things? Once you've found stillness, focus in, make sure your breath is deep and even. Checking in, finding breath if you've lost your focus on that, deepening the pose if that's good for you, staying as you are, or maybe backing out a little bit. Reveling in breath and stillness. Let's complete this pose with several deep breaths. Last one while here. Next inhale allows you to honor your body and move slowly out of the pose. Move any props that you've got off to the side. Extend your legs out in front of you. Let's windshield wiper again. Okay, we're going to come onto our knees. Their toes behind us. Let me move all of this out of the way to give you a clear view. And we're going to do a little bit of work on our feet and ankles. So some people's toes are more naturally flexible than others. For me, I really have to get like up onto my toes, get my knees up off the earth, really get my toes nitty gritty and underneath me. And then I bring my toes down to the earth. You may just be able to tuck your toes. So this is where we evaluate what we need here. If this is enough stretch for you, and by the way, we're not going to hold this one for 3 minutes in case you're starting to get a little worried. We're going to just slowly, though, if it feels good, begin to walk our hands back. When it becomes intense and it feels like a good stretch for you, stop. Some people may be able to come here, and you can always use blocks on either side of you in this pose to support you if that works as well. We're going to stay here for about 30 seconds. If it feels good, let your eyes shut down. Find softness in the space between your eyes. Let your jaw relax. Take any tension out of your shoulders. Keep breathing. Last breath. And then just slowly and carefully, don't rush it, allow your palms to walk out in front of you, come on to all fours, untuck those toes, and the counter pose for this is to pitter-patter your feet out. Then leaving your toes untucked, we'll come back again where we lower our hips over our heels, and we'll move into our ankles. Now for some people, that's a really quality ankle stretch. For me, I don't feel that at all. So it just depends on your body and you have to listen. So if you wanted to increase the stretch here, you would lift one knee off the ground or both. We'll stay here again for about 30 seconds. We're breathing, finding softness in our body. One more breath. And then gently, carefully, slowly, just release onto all fours again. And it's the same counter pose for ankle stretch. Pitter patter those feet out. From here, we'll move into child's pose. So let your knees go as wide as your mat. Toes come to touch. Hips shift back over your heels. Hands extend out in front of you. Forehead connects with the earth. The options for adjustment here are many. You can start by bringing your knees closer together or further apart. So that's a good place to start. For some of us, sinking our hips back over our heels doesn't feel good. So grab one of those pillows and get it way up into your knee creases and use that pillow to support you. If your forehead doesn't feel great on the earth, you can place a block or a pillow there. So play, get comfortable. We won't spend a full 3 minutes here, but we will relax in child's pose for a moment, opening up the back of our body, letting our chest melt down towards the earth. Find a few more breaths here. Gently, when you're complete, walk your hands right by your knees underneath your shoulders. Use the strength in your arms and the strength of your back to push up to seated. We're going to come onto our backs. So part of the practice of yin yoga is moving our spine in all 6 directions. So that's forward fold, that's arching, that's twisting from right to left, and it's lateral movement from right to left. So we've done a lot of folding, and it's time to get into those other movements. So start by extending your legs out in front of you, and you can use a block if that's available to you or a pillow if that's available to you. And either way, I'm going to show it with a block. And this one takes a little of adjustment in getting into, so be patient with yourself as you figure it out. But you're going to take whatever it is that you're going to lay back on, whether it's a block or a pillow, and you're going to place it about midway down on your back. Okay, then take your fingers out from under it because you don't want to squish them. And you're going to gently start to lower yourself down. Okay, now for some people that might be pretty intense. So another thing to offer, an option, is to have a second block behind you onto which your head can rest, and you can adjust that. Okay, so play with getting that adjusted. Palms are by your side, face up, and we're opening through our back. Now if you're feeling really crazy, you may end up as deep as this, but that's totally up to you. Okay, you also can play with the different heights of the block or the pillow. You might be able to double a pillow up over if you'd like more height, or leave it as is. Find comfort. nice and wide. Those hips sink back. If you'd like to put that pillow under your thighs again or any supports, we're going to move side to side in this child's pose. So initially coming out onto your mat like that, walk your hands way over to your right side, feeling that side stretch through your left side body. Keep breathing. These poses are a little easier to find and settle into stillness, but don't hesitate to take the time you need to get into the pose that your body needs right now. Check in with your body, see if there's more space that's been created. If you need to deepen the pose, you can even stack your left hand on top of your right if that feels good, or you can release by walking a little bit further towards center. Find 3 more breaths here. Gently release. The counter pose to this one is to go to the other side. So walk your hands this time over to your left. Find where it feels good, where there's a quality stretch through your right side body. Settle into stillness and breath. Check in with your body, take any adjustments that it's asking for. Bring your attention back to your breath if it's slid away. And then gently release, walking your hands back to center. And then slowly, carefully, easily, walking your hands towards your knees, lifting your chest up off your thighs. One more time, we'll come off to our side. We'll finish our practice up on our back for twisting, and then our final resting pose, Shavasana. So what we're going to do here on our back, let me clear my space a little bit, is we're going to draw our knees bent. Our feet are going to rest on the mat. Arms can come out to a T. And then we have some options. So push your heels down to get started. Lift your hips just a little bit and then scoot them over 2 or 3 inches to the right. And that helps us line up our spine so that we can let our knees fall over to the left. Now, mine have fallen over and they're staggered. If that feels good, you can stay there. If not, if you'd rather, you can roll a little bit further and place your right knee on top of your left. We're going to look to keep our shoulders squared to the earth. We start with our gaze to the left towards our knees. If there's more available to us, we can look up to the sky or the ceiling. And if there's more available yet, then you can look away from your knees to the right. Find your version that serves you best, getting that nice twist through our back. And then find breath. And then find stillness. Every exhale, melt a little bit more into the mat. Release any muscles or places where you're holding tension or tightness. Would be a good time to adjust if more space has become available to you, or if your body would like to ease a little bit. And always the invitation to stay exactly as you are. Let's find a few more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, slowly, gently bring your knees back to center. You may need to push down through your heels to straighten your spine back up. Draw your knees into your chest. If it feels good, you can grab on. Draw a few circles clockwise with your knees. And then draw a few circles counterclockwise with your knees. And then set your feet back down on the earth. This time push down through your heels, lift your hips up just an inch or two and set them over to the left an inch or two so that your knees can fall over to the right. Gaze is to your knees, to the ceiling or away from your knees. Option to keep those legs staggered or option to pull your left knee directly on top of your right. Getting that good twist. Breathe in. And breathe out and settle. Check in, adjust as your body is requesting, or stay as you are. Return your focus to your breath if it's strayed. Continue to fill completely and empty completely. Find a few more breaths here to be complete. And then when you're ready, your next inhale will bring your knees back to center. Push down to your heels, straighten out that spine. And then one more time, draw your knees into your chest. Draw circles clockwise and counterclockwise. And then briefly, we extend our feet up towards the ceiling. You can grab onto the back of your thighs or your knees if that helps you. We get our feet higher than our hearts. We integrate all this breath and movement that we've taken on into our bodies. Find 2 more breaths here. And then gently bend your knees again. Knees coming into your chest. Curl up into a tiny ball. Breathe all the way in. And empty. Release all the way down onto your mat for Shavasana. So we'll allow our feet to fall open. Our palms will be by our side facing up. If it feels good, you can nestle your shoulders underneath your heart space. Open and close your jaw, taking the pressure off of your back teeth. Let your eyes shut down. Free your breath, free your mind, just be. Take a deep breath in. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Next inhale, bring small movement into your body, wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. Then when you're ready, slowly, carefully, gently, allowing the peace that you've created in your body to remain there. Draw your knees into your chest and roll onto your right side, allowing your bicep to cradle your head. Pause here, send gratitude to whatever it is that brought you here to this practice, to your mat. And then gently using the strength in your arms, move up to a comfortable seated position. Big inhale as hands come up and overhead. Big exhale as they meet and come down to heart center. We pause here. We thank our most important teacher, the teacher within. And then allowing your eyes to blink open if they have not already done so. Extend your palms up to your forehead, thumb between your 2 eyes. The word namaste means that the light and the love and the joy in me recognizes, honors, and celebrates the light, the love, and the joy in each and every one of you. Together we bow and say, Namaste. And then we always clap because we did good work for our mind, our body, and our spirit. Thank you so much for joining me today for this yin practice, whether it's your first or hopefully the first of many. Have a great day. See you soon.